Hello and welcome to Nintendo Voice, your voice for everything Nintendo. This is episode 125, being recorded on the 30th of January 2018. My name's Lewis Pugh, and joining me to talk all things Nintendo, we have Harrison Milfeld.
Surprise, surprise, I'm here again.
And we also have Colin Cropton.
Yeah, you get points for consistency, Harrison. That's how it works. Hey, everybody. And look, Lewis is back.
Exactly, and my points have been reduced all the way back to 0. That's the point process, and you have to gradually work your way back up.
Wow. Oh, the point. So when it comes down to me wanting to host again, I have to get back on your good side. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No. It's almost the opposite. I mean, like, you have more hosting points than I do currently until I finish this podcast. I've got to work my way back up. This is my first ever Nintendo Voice podcast. We are, in fact, live. On the YouTubes, you can find us on youtube.com/Nintendo Voice. Catch us every week. Why not? Why not? It's a fun show. You could join us in the chat. Like Rosa Dev. Hello, fellows, he says.
Hey, hi guys.
Hello.
And today's show, we've got a pretty standard show, pretty good show, pretty fun show. We're gonna have some what we've been playing. We've got some Nintendo news, and we're gonna finish things up with a super topic. What more can you ask for?
Huh?
Maybe
from us at least.
What could I ask for? Maybe, I don't know. Colin to get a Switch finally. That I could ask for. Maybe one to arrive in his hand free of charge.
I thought this was going to become a running joke. This podcast is, how many days can I go without having a Switch before boom? That's it.
That's right. You've been playing the 3DS though. You've not abandoned us for like a PS4 or a competitor's device, or you're gonna come back with some Kirby's Battle Royale feedback. I know you won't disappoint us. You got that in the barrel. Let's jump straight into what we've been playing, shall we? Because it's kind of topical. Colin, can you please let us know about all the Nintendo games, please?
I can. So last week I did say that I was going to go see my uncle, who is a collector of sorts of vintage video game systems. Anything that's like 20 years old plus, he collects. So he has an NES in his possession, and I've never played on NES. It's like the one since I grew up with a Super Nintendo, so I've always had that kind of gap in my Nintendo knowledge.
So had you before this point seen an NES in the flesh, as it were?
I have seen one. I've never touched one.
Okay.
It's like holy grail, you just don't touch it. But yeah, so I had the opportunity of holding an NES cartridge, which I didn't realize quite how big they were.
Yeah,
they were pretty big. I mean, I'm like, okay, it's like a slab.
Did it come in a little plastic sleeve?
No, he has the black plastic dust cover, but he doesn't have like the old boxes or anything like that. So I was like, okay. But I played one game on NES, and I had to pick a classic, so we went with Super Mario Bros. The original Super Mario Bros.
Okay.
I want to put the NES itself for a device that is 30 plus years old. I think it still looks good for what it is.
How are those load times?
Remarkable. Incredible load times. I was genuinely impressed with the device. I was like, this is incredible little grey box. I did find the mechanism that, like, in order to insert a game, you have to like push the cartridge in and then lower it into the system.
Yeah,
it clicked. I don't think it's like putting a VCR into a VCR player. You know what I mean?
I remember having one of those type of VCR players like that, where you actually that's how VCRs were, but I get your point.
Yeah, for kids who anyone under the age of, I guess, 16, VCRs were like yay big. They're basically like giant cassette tapes is what they were.
To put Colin, short, as a 16-year-old, I need to know what a cassette tape is now, please.
As a 16-year-old.
Well, that was Colin's point of reference. If you're a 16-year-old, you won't know what a VCR is, and then he compares it to a cassette tape.
Well,
I'm a child at heart, so what is this newfangled technology that you speak?
Okay, it's like a plastic rectangle with tape in that you have to rewind every time you want to use it. That's a cassette tape.
But you control it by tapping on it and all that wonderful and swiping and pinching and all that, yeah?
Unfortunately not.
Oh, okay.
No. You had to be kind and rewind these things. If you want to go back to a specific spot, you had to.
Yeah. Analog technology, it was great. So yeah, NES. The controller itself, I did find very uncomfortable. in my modern hands, I was like, how did people play a lot of games on this thing? Because it just dug into my hands. I want it like, cause it's block. It's basically a block. I was like, I mean, the corners are rounded very slightly. But
Lewis is showing versus Super Mario Brothers on his Switch right now on the screen. For those who are listening right now, but
yes.
no. We think it is for that design for its time is very well for the controller, but I mean I think it was a little bit more refined when you got to the dog bone. When they did the NES 2, which was the top loader, and that had a little dog bone shaped controller, and then of course. It was refined more with the NES, of course, with the four face buttons and the shoulder buttons.
See, I wasn't aware that they did a dog bone NES controller. I assumed it went straight from like the block to Super Nintendo. Dog bone shape. Oh, okay.
No, NES 2 was just it's the same NES, but it was just a top loader. So
okay, cool.
But be thankful. But the original Famicom, though, I mean, thankful because I think a lot of those controllers they came out in the cord came out the side.
Right.
I believe on there, and then one other one was actually attached to the original Famicom for a second player.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, the controls like hard built into the system, so if they broke, you kind of just stuffed. But yeah, Super Mario Bros was great. It was fun. It just felt really cool going back into Nintendo's history, and like just how well Nintendo hit the mark with Super Mario Bros. 30 odd years ago. It's just classic. It really is, and there's no word worse to describe it apart from it still felt good to play. It didn't feel too dated. I mean, it felt dated, but it didn't feel like it's unplayable now because it's old.
Yeah, I think what kind of helps it, at least in my opinion, going back to a game like Super Mario Bros, is the fact that it still feels fast and snappy.
Oh yeah.
Whereas a lot of older games feel slow. And you just never notice at the time. But no, Mario still feels fast. It requires these kind of reflexes, and the game boots up nicely and quickly and such, and you're in there straight away, and it's responsive. I think that's the important part. But yeah, it hits so well, surprisingly well, kind of out of the gate.
Yeah,
all these things which build up the modern 2D platformer.
Oh yeah,
and they set that framework just right out of the gate.
Oh no, and you're right. Whatever. I mean, and to this day, I mean, it's one of those few timeless games from that era, which if you take the rose-tinted glasses off, you actually look through the majority of them. Most of them just don't really hold up. I mean, it's kind of the same case where I feel like once you go to the 16-bit era, yes, there's still some games that don't hold up, but you feel like it's a little bit more refined in that type of space.
I mean, honestly, the worst console for that it would be N64. A lot of N64 games don't hold up at all. I would even say games like Ocarina of Time is a great game, but graphically, it doesn't look as good as when you go back to play.
There are at least probably, if I had to name 5 games from there that do hold up, it's for sake of time I won't list them, and that's why I never really kind of got more interest in the inevitable, N64 Classic, which will probably be coming out, because knowing that, we won't be seeing a lot of rare titles, and how are they going to be able to deal with the whole multiplayer? It's just, it'd be interesting what they actually do with something like that. And I have people who were shocked at me when they say, like, yeah, N64 is my least favorite Nintendo console, and they're just like shocked. They're like, it's not because I hate it, it's just I found the GameCube to be a little bit superior in terms of what it kind of moved forward. I mean, yes, it's a very landmark console for what it did at the time and helped usher in the gate of 3D gaming, but Colin said, there's just things that don't age well. But I digress. What else have you been playing with your NES, though?
NES, that's what I played. That's all I was allowed to play. He didn't have my hands out for too long, in case I worried that I'd like sneeze and break it or something. Although I'm pretty sure like these controllers can survive a bomb blast. They felt super sturdy.
Yeah, it's a pretty resilient controller you're holding.
Normally, like So when I was playing PS2 like games back in the day, I could just squeeze like the edge of the controller and I could feel it flex.
Yeah.
The NES, nothing, no give in it whatsoever. I was like, these things are solid. I mean, you could probably kill somebody with these damn things. Yeah, I was like, wow, okay, cool. But so yeah, I only did like a few. I'm not planning on killing anybody. Mass murder on these choice of weapons with the NES controller. But yeah, I did a few levels on Super Mario Bros. Awesome time, great fun. I didn't even reach Bowser, so that's how short my time was with it the first time around. But yeah, great fun. So we put that to the side, and yeah, that's my NES adventures. I can now check up a list that I've played on the NES. I feel complete in some sort of way.
I assume was that your only Nintendo home console that you hadn't played?
Yes, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, no, that's the only one I have never touched. I grew up with Super Nintendo. We got an N64 purely for Zelda. That's pretty much the only game. We had Zelda and GoldenEye for like a year. That's the only two games we had for like the longest time.
It works.
It worked. Honestly, GoldenEye lasted longer than multiplayer. Zelda was great until you finish it. Then it's like, well, no point going back to that. But we did. GameCube was obviously everybody had GameCube. Although actually Wii, I skipped the Wii, but I went back and I now own a Wii. So
yeah, okay.
Crazy times. And then Wii, obviously, Switch I don't have, so technically that does count.
Oh yeah, true. Then that other one, yes.
The other one, Switch. In due time, folks. In due time.
In due time. What have you been doing to bide the time?
Well, I've been doing okay. I don't want to linger on this too much because it's not Nintendo related, but I have been playing the new Monster Hunter World on PS4.
How is it?
Well, everybody's been saying this is the best Monster Hunter game ever.
Yeah,
and I can see why.
The numbers don't lie, Colin.
I know it sold like 5 million copies in the first few days it was released. I know.
Highest rated Monster Hunter as well.
Indeed. I can't judge it yet because I've finished the main story part of it, but that's not Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter is the end game, all about the end game. How long does it go on for? So until I put like, I don't know, 1,000 hours into it, I won't be able to come out with a decent.
At least 4 digits, yes.
It has to be. But so far, currently where I am, it's good. It's really good. I cannot say that it's my favorite yet.
I feel you have lingering doubts there, Colin.
I have a few. But I can't. I don't want to say, oh, this game's bad because of so and so, and then realize that later in the game it pops up or something, you know. Because when I started, I thought, well, they've taken a lot out, but over time I've unlocked parts of those games. So, oh, okay, so it is still it's confusing. I would say that the game looks amazing. Like graphically, it's a very visually stunning game. So that works in its favor. It really does. But yeah, it's good. I just want to say it is good. It's not a bad game. It's really good. But I can't say it's my favorite yet. Everyone else is like, it's the best game ever. I'm like, for me, if you want to play the best Monster Hunter game currently, buy a Wii U, which I'm pretty sure you can get pretty cheap these days, and buy Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, because that is still by far the best Monster Hunter game that I've played.
Well, it's my personal favourite, but I've not had a huge selection to gather from, really.
Was that your first?
No. I've had a weird history of Monster Hunter. I attempted one of the PSP ones.
Oh, yeah, that's not a good start.
I don't know what that was called.
I mean, yeah. The PSP was the worst system for Monster Hunter because you needed like the crab hand.
Yeah.
They thought, oh, we'll put the camera controls and the movement controls on the same side.
Yeah, so not just the same side, but like a centimetre away from each other.
Yes. It gives you severe crab. But yeah, so that's Monster Hunter Worlds. Great game. Yeah.
Cool. All right, then. Before I move into my stuff, just want to double check. Harrison, is there anything you've been up to?
Not at the moment. Not at the moment right now. I mean, I do have this game called, well, if I can just actually find the name of it right now, because I just gotten it for review. So if you just give me about one moment, I could just find that. It's for, it's called Super One More Jump, and it's a platformer for the Switch. So I'm going to be reviewing that coming up in about the next week or so. Haven't picked it up yet. I mean, haven't started playing it yet or to mow it, but so, yeah, that's what's on my tap palette at the moment.
Judging by the title, it has that one more jump.
Yeah. Thing, kind of.
Is that a saying?
I mean, they have one more turn in strategy games. Oh, it has a one more turn syndrome. This is one more jump syndrome. Don't know what it is yet.
It sounds like a procedurally generated 2D platformer of the difficult persuasion.
Oh.
That's just the mental image which comes to mind when you say that title to me. It might be nothing like that.
We'll find it this week.
Yeah, we will. That's exciting.
That's exciting.
I have a new Switch game, kind of new Switch game to talk about.
New Switch game.
An indie game. Ooh, like games. This one, Oxenfree. It has been released on multiple other systems previously. Okay. It hit the Nintendo Switch at some point. But more recently, some point after that point, it went on sale for about 75%.
And was a heck of a deal.
Which was a heck of a deal. And it was a sort of deal because it's, at least in terms of the UK pricing, I think it's £15 normally. And so putting a 75% discount on that, reduces it to quite a small figure. And so having no more information than, like, I heard the name of the game, I heard of Oxenfree.
Right.
But that was pretty much the extent of it, beyond, like, also hearing just generally good things, but nothing in particular. I've heard good things about Oxenfree, but if you were to ask me what the game is, what sort of genre it was, what sort of art style, it's some sort of indie game. People quite like it. That's all I really knew. So I jumped in because the price was right. And I'm here to report what Oxenfree is, if there's any people in similar positions. And so what Oxenfree is essentially, it reminds me of a old kind of PC adventure game.
Okay.
In terms of setup, you're not going around with, like, pick up this item and combine it with this sort of thing. But you do control a central character with a very zoomed out camera. And there's a lot of chatting amongst the different characters, although you only control one of them. And you control them simply with the actual analog stick. So you're not actually pointing around. But your interactions are very limited. So most of the time, you are essentially just walking around. And in conversations with people, you choose different dialogue options. And the options can be quite different. Now, they're not necessarily significant, and I don't know the significance later down the road of those options. But you can choose, like, very different things, just about stuff in general, about your, your likes, your dislikes, your personality. You can, give a variety of different choices, and your characters will then talk around it. But the ultimate kind of setup is, it's kind of a horror story. You and a couple of friends go to an island, essentially to have a good time, maybe cause a bit of mischief, just generally be kids. And at some point, something goes a bit weird and a bit scary. And it's very, I don't want to say too much, but the style is very impressive. And I think what's impressed me the most so far is kind of the flow of the conversation of the game. And the fact that you do have these different options, and kind of like Telltale games, you also do have an option just to say nothing, and sometimes that will be an option in itself. Like, they'll react and like, oh, that's a bit weird, you didn't say anything. Or
how dare you not say anything? Yeah,
exactly. Okay. But it's quite cute as well.
In a title, I would never have guessed it was an adventure game. Oxenfree just sounds like a mass ox killing simulator or something.
Yeah, kind of. I guess a spoiler. I've seen no ox.
Oh,
so far. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's the correct title because it is Oxenfree so far.
So far, that has to be the twist.
Oh,
they're going to just turn a corner.
We got this game sussed.
The whole field, and the credits start rolling. But that is cool. I kind of don't really want to say too much about it, apart from if kind of what I said intrigue, do check it out. It's definitely, like, it's well made. It's got a great atmosphere to it. Really cool art direction and such, and it tells a really nice story. But that's kind of what you're getting. You're getting a cool experience and a cool story. There are very little kind of actual game aspects to it. You interact with a few things. There's some very, very basic puzzles in there. But you're kind of in there for the ride. You can take your pick of which phrase makes most sense.
We do like our options.
I knew there's a reason you were sticking around, Colin.
Of course. Our unofficial catchphrase these days.
Exactly. And I've not really played much else new, so I won't talk about much more. But I have been playing even more Fire Emblem Warriors. I thought that was worth an extra mention.
Huh.
I've got one last character to unlock.
Okay.
Which is Anna, kind of the shopkeeper, as it were. And for some reason, she has a lot more. She kind of has a list of requirements in terms of to unlock her, which is unlike most of the other characters. Essentially, in some missions, she will appear in the battle, and you basically just have to run up and find her, and you get a little Anna's momentum sort of badge. It's like a reward thing, and it marks it off. Basically, you have to get so many of those, and then you can unlock her, opposed to fighting her at a particular chapter, at the end of a particular map.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It does, but it's also like the only example of that, so it's not so bad.
I wonder, like, why this character?
I'm not sure. I think maybe it's because it's not a traditional character. Like, you wouldn't expect to unlock her,
right?
And so I think maybe it's meant to be more of a surprise. But you don't have any more surprises in the world of the internet. But I think that maybe.
Oh, so you looked it up? That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, everyone does. But I think like that's what they would have wanted. Like, you would have just poured so many hours into this game, which I already have.
Right.
And then you would have just unlocked it, and you'd gone, I didn't know you were going to get to play as her. I thought she was just
a little side character.
The side character. But no, we made the model, so you get the play as her.
Cool. I kind of wonder how she'll play. Knowing that she's a shopkeeper,
unfortunately, not uniquely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she is an archer. And
she just throws bags of money at people or something.
That would be cool. But no, the last unique character I unlocked was Lynn, who is very cool. I mean, yet another sword fighter, but hey, it's Fire Emblem.
It's Fire Emblem. The game's full. Every single main character is a sword user in some form.
And that's why the prominent and the kind of the flagship feature is the weapon triangle, because everyone's a sword wielder.
Yeah, spear.
Exactly.
You win.
Yeah. But it's still very cool. And also just a very good local co-op. That's how I've been pouring so much time into that. It's cool. It's cool to have that sort of game where it feels like your traditional kind of lengthy game. You can grind and work out how you want to put experience into your different characters and such. But it's cool to do that to two people. So yeah, that kind of covers. I mean, I've played some little bits here and there.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's
Splatoon 2, of course. ARMS, of course.
Oh.
Have you been enjoying the what's ARMS' little thing about their version of Splatfest? I forget.
They have the party crashes.
That's what it is. Have you participated in all that at all? I have.
I don't think I've missed one.
Of course not. Lewis stays up all night waiting for it.
I know. Well, I mean, and I know we wanted to talk about this on news a couple of weeks ago, but we decided not to. But I assume everybody saw that whole report about how there's just been a handful of competitive ARMS players that are kind of just keeping the whole online environment alive at this moment.
And Lewis is one of them.
I am not in the competitive scene for ARMS, not yet. No, I'm not that good. As much as I enjoy the game, but yeah, no, I did see that. It's cool. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if we do hear more about ARMS in the future. I mean, like, ARMS still isn't that old of a game, so I'm not surprised that as small or as big as it was, that it does have some sort of tournament scene. But yeah, the real test is going to be in a year's time or 2 years' time. Are people playing ARMS?
Are they? Yeah, it's a matter of if they will be still playing on there, given the fact that there's not going to be any more other content being updated to it, because Dr. Coyle was the last character added to this game. So yeah, I think it was like the only thing they're going to be doing is just maintenance on it. So,
yeah.
but it's still, I'm glad it actually hit something to be in the Nintendo zeitgeist of sorts. So it's just I don't know. It's a new IP that actually got pretty much out running, even if it wasn't a huge success.
See, I feel like it had a huge pop at the beginning, and I feel like it dried up pretty quickly.
Well, it didn't really help that Splatoon 2 was out.
I was going to say, yeah. So maybe poor release timing on Nintendo's part for that one.
It's a tricky one, really. And also, I think, in a strange way, I think it got lost in the E3 buzz, because it launched on E3.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and I think there was just a lot of good news, a lot within the walls of Nintendo and a lot outside of it. I think it might have just got a bit, kind of just lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. I don't think this is going to be the last of, even this version of ARMS in a weird way. It might just be something simple as, there's a sale or something, or I'm not sure what, but I think Nintendo's going to want to try to do something more specifically with this ARMS.
I can't help but feel like Smash Bros. They're going to be a Smash Bros. In some form, I feel like.
Ah. Do you reckon, as in you will have an ARMS character in Smash Bros? Is that where you're getting at? Or?
At the very least, a trophy character, but there'll be some ARMS in Smash Bros. I can't say it's going to be a full character. Maybe. It's a bit of a stretch. I feel like Splatoon, the Inklings are going to
be a stretch. I like where we're going here. But yeah, you could. If you don't want to commit to the full character, you could just have ARMS items.
True.
As in, you grab an item and then you've got Springman's arms for 10 seconds or something.
Are people going to catch on to what that is, though? You think?
Yeah. all the obscure references in Smash Bros.
That is true, yeah.
I think people know what ARMS is. But yeah, you have all the extra Fire Emblem and Xenoblade characters to contend with. If the themes of old come back round again.
Well, what was it? In between that, we have more Fates characters. We have people from here and from Echoes as well, and probably the next one that's coming out as well, Fire Emblem game. Don't forget, we have 2 Xenoblade games to actually deal with some characters, and who is going to make the cut in that one? So,
yeah, I think Rex and Pyra is going to
be
a character.
Strong bet.
Yeah, I think it's a strong contender, definitely. Yeah. And just before, because we've not officially got there yet, I did want to actually have a little bit of a tiny little soapbox moment here about Fire Emblem Warriors.
Oh, okay.
Which is, there was a lot of I'm not sure dispute's the right word. Maybe anger. Maybe anger is the right word. A lot of anger towards this game due to the limited range of games where the characters got pulled from.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
which is somewhat true.
I'm pretty upset about that.
There's a bunch of characters, great Fire Emblem characters, which aren't in the game, and a lot of people draw just comparisons with Zelda and such. There's a lot more Fire Emblem characters than Zelda characters. A lot more.
I feel like Zelda got represented pretty well in Fire Warriors.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you want? 7 different types of Link? What do you want?
Exactly. But in Fire Warriors, although most of the characters come from free games, there are others which come outside of it. Okay. Not too long ago, I unlocked Lynn. From was she Sacred Stones?
Sacred Stones, I think.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
The second of the Fire Emblem games, of course, which came over here. And we also had, I believe it's Silcia, who is from the actual Fire Emblem 2, which was remade as Fates recently on the 3DS.
Fates?
I believe that's the one.
No,
Echoes. I keep getting those confused. Damn,
sometimes.
Yeah, but there are these other characters which fall outside those main games, which are represented here. And I think altogether, you do have this decent collection. And yes, I know it's not everybody. Maybe your favorite's not there, but there's a big character roster by the end of it, and it does come from a bunch of different games. Most of them from those 3. But yeah, there are some other cool ones in there.
I would rather have a smaller cast of characters that each person felt different than have a large portion of characters where they start doing the copycat. Everyone has the same moveset, which they had done before in previous Dynasty Warriors games.
And this one, it rides that line certain characters are unique, as in truly unique. Like I was talking earlier about Lynn. Her moveset is completely unique in that sense, even though she's a sword wielder. But a lot of classes, which I think basically the non-sword classes, if you're say a spear user and you're on a horse, you're going to be the same as any other spear user on a horse. There are unique sword wielders, but I don't think there's necessarily unique other classes, in their own rights. So an archer is going to basically be the same as any other archer.
I mean, there's only so many moves you can do.
Exactly, not that many.
You can draw it and that's it.
Yeah. Anyway,
what do you want? Yeah.
Without much further ado, that will do on some Fire Emblem Warriors. And I will try and get my echoes and my fates correct next time. I know I've already hit 2 strikes on that one.
Yeah, you might as well.
3 strikes, not the podcast.
Exactly. I shall stick to heroes on the iOS and Android. Even then I was questioning, even though I was trying to make a bit of it. Anyway, before we fumble into any more Fire Emblem naming conventions, let's jump straight into some Nintendo news. And talking about smartphone games. What was Nintendo's first one? What was their first mobile app of recent?
I believe it was called Miitomo. If I have my words.
That's right. When was the last time we all connected into Miitomo?
Like 2 weeks after it came out.
Okay, Harrison.
About a month after it came out, and then it just,
Okay, I mean, ever so briefly when I got a new phone because it was shiny, but even then,
shiny.
Barely a minute was put into it before it was never touched again.
I would love to see the graph. They must have a graph of like Amiibo comes out, like the usage is here, and it goes boop. Like so many dropped off after like a few days of using this thing, and then that's it. I mean, I'm sure there are like some dedicated people behind it. Like I'm going to use this every day, and like, I don't know why I would because it's just a little thing. But yeah, I don't know. I just it was fine for a while.
It was a neat little experiment for something that was their first little foray into the mobile sphere, and of course,
shall I best jump into the actual news headline here because I've not actually said that bit yet.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, we were teasing that quite a while. So
I was teasing it. We can't go. It can't go on any long. Unfortunately, like this app, it is closing. May 9th.
Sorry, Miitomo.
Yeah, you didn't deserve that. You only offered us kindness. You wanted us to communicate more and be happy and friendly, but it wasn't to be. It is a nasty world out there. The in-app purchases are all frozen now. You can't buy any more of those. And yeah, May 9th. It's just around the corner. And
they're going to kill it.
Wave Miitomo goodbye. And it also had the Mi Photo thing, which was quite cool.
That was cool. That was a neat little feature. Yeah.
That was one feature I enjoyed.
But it also had Miis. And I think, in a strange way, this could be part of it. Because I think there was a future where like the Miis would live in the Switch and they would be your identity. And like the framework was put there. And then I think...
You're just slowly taking it away.
Miis
aren't the future.
Well, no, if I may, with this closure Miitomo and knowing... Okay, there have been rumblings, I mean, don't quote me on this, that apparently the deal between Nintendo and DNA is not going as well planned, I believe, or it just maybe, I won't say sour, but they may be looking for new partners or something.
I've heard about new partners, but I've not necessarily heard about them not necessarily being happy with the DNA partnership. That it was an open relationship, as it were. Nintendo was allowed to pursue other opportunities elsewhere.
That's good.
I'm not sure. I've not heard about necessarily them not being happy. That might be the case, but I've not heard that.
I don't know. Those are just rumors I've been hearing about. Again, don't put this as fact. Whatever. Like quote this as fact is all I say. But in terms of Miitomo just ending, I know that it got a bit of a massive update. I mean, months later in the end of the line. So maybe this is just going to be probably well, not probably. It's just. I don't know. Either there's probably just not so much usage to this service that it just had, the cord had to be cut.
Yeah, I feel like they did a massive update, and then when we realized that like 10 people were still using it, like, what are we doing? Why are you sinking time into this when no one's bothering with it anymore? 'Cause, I mean, it did drop off a lot, you know. None of us have used it consistently. It was a fun little thing when it came out, but I kind of hope they do something like this again, with a different approach, something different. Not like Miitomo 2 or anything like that, but I quite like these weird little. Miitomo was weird. Let's put it that way. It was a strange little thing, little app. I kind of want to see them try something like this again, like build up their own social.
Okay. I would prefer them to actually maybe integrate something what they can to fix the Switch app, which of course I know is. Yeah. It's hot. The idea of having an app to use for the Switch concurrently, whatever, that idea doesn't bother me. It's just the execution of what they did is just so poorly. So, and hence why there's only been one game to be using with it. And knowing that I get more usage out of the Switch parental controls app because that's it really is. It's a nice little thing that keeps a good track of everything and gets you a nice update at the end of the month. That's
okay. I was aware of that.
I would use the parental control app, but I don't like the little parental control badge it puts on your Switch screen.
Oh,
is there a way to get that off?
Not that I'm aware of, so I don't use it.
Well, it's on there, but it's it's strange, but it adds another layer to my Switch. So
that's true. I was just proud of his parental control icon.
Parental controls, even though I'm not a parent.
You get advanced statistics and all your playtime.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and if you've been particularly naughtily behaved, you can ban yourself from your own system, which is pretty cool.
I got a feeling that one of you would be able to hack into this, whatever, and be like, watch it, be like, Harrison's playing Bayonetta 2 again right now. It's like, it's 11 o'clock over in the States. Time for you to go to bed. Sorry.
Your Switch just powers down. That'd be great. Oh dear.
Thankfully, it would just be a matter of hitting that button again, and it would resume from sleep. Unless you could be particularly evil and actually make it do a proper shutdown.
That's not very well. At 11 o'clock at Harrison's time is like 5 in the morning for us. So if we're up at 5 watching what Harrison's playing, then what are we doing?
What are we doing? This is a weekly podcast, Colin. It is just the next step. What I wonder, I mean, you mentioned the Nintendo Switch app, which they've not done much with yet.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if there could be a future where you would have Miitomo-like features, at least.
That's where I was kind of getting. That's where I was getting at. I feel like maybe where the Switch Online app they are able to actually kind of build more upon and just give it that massive update. But again, I'm not holding out too much hope for it. So
yeah, because I almost feel that would give, like, oddly, Miitomo more of a sense of place. Like, if the room where your Mii lived was essentially your online area for your Switch.
That would be cool.
Other people's rooms with Mii's in were like basically their Switch area. Yeah. I think the whole thing suddenly makes a little bit more sense. Like, if that was the lobby opposed to as the entire whole thing.
It'd be cool. Like, say you're playing a game with a friend, your Mii goes to your friend's room. You're like, hey, we're playing a game together.
In the same way, to complete the sequence, as an optional feature, on the Switch, you would select, if you had your Mii as your avatar, say you change your costume in the little Miitomo or the Switch app, whatever it is, it's fully animated, it kind of pops up and it waves, and it's got its new costume on, sort of thing. And then it just like ducks, it ducks back down in its corner.
Nintendo there, but yeah, maybe.
It's all in the cloud. It's all done. It's the same mobile company making their phone apps as their online infrastructure. This should be doable.
This is Nintendo. It makes sense. So they probably would do it. So, yeah.
All right.
I don't know. We'll see.
I'm going to move on to the next bit of news now, because
they'll just dash your hopes.
We're going to spiral into madness.
Mad.
Unfortunately, a game without madness in the title. Project OCTOPATH TRAVELER, we have some more details on. Square Enix put up a video, which is basically a little developer diary-ish sort of thing, where the developers of Project OCTOPATH TRAVELER.
You just forgot that name for a little bit because
it's so good. It's so good as a name.
No. Because on their YouTube channel for the the title, they actually lowercase project, all words, and everything else is capitalized.
Ooh, okay. That's quite telling. Within the video itself, they talked about the reception of the demo, how it was being downloaded over 1 million times. They're very impressed by how well that's done. And they also sent out surveys. I'm not sure if the surveys were part of the demo or just around the time of the demo or something completely separate. However, they were mentioning about they received 45,000 responses to that. And from those responses, they have been taking a look at how they've been making the game, and they've made some changes and adjustments. And they've gone through, there's some little details like your running speed's now faster. But they've also gone about like the changes in text size and lots of little details as well. And you can also change like some of they call them the HD 2D, those filters you can adjust now with a little scaler. If you thought, oh, that's a bit too much, you can tone it down a little bit now. And so they've essentially taken this user feedback into account. They've not given it a, in quotes, proper name yet, nor a more firm release date.
2019. I'm saying it now.
They say it's 20. Well, the development team says they're aiming for 2018.
Oh, true, but yeah, we don't know any more about it. So it's a little update as such. Yeah, no, but from personal experience, I mean, it sounds good. I played the demo. What they discussed in this video and the changes they're making all sound like sensible changes. Sometimes I get worried of these sort of things. Like, no, don't listen to the masses.
Don't listen to you.
Especially after playing the demo, going, oh, this is fantastic, and then hearing, oh, they're making loads of changes due to fan feedback. No.
Yeah. So when you played the demo, did it feel too slow when you were walking around, or?
No, not particularly. To be fair, I mean, it was a fairly, for RPG scale at least, it was a fairly small area. There was a village and a dungeon, basically.
Okay. I mean, clearly,
what they did.
I was saying a lot of people clearly complain about it because that's what they're like bullet points they made. We're making it walk faster. Yay!
Yeah, well, the way they've done it is they've not changed the walking speed.
Right.
That's the same, but they've changed the running speed.
Running speed, okay.
So the running speed is faster. But the walking speed, I believe they've kept the same. And also, you can now run with the analog stick if you push it,
You couldn't
further.
Do that? Okay, that's
interesting. But I think they also did, add with like the fact that you are going to be running faster is that I think that brings up your encounter rate a lot higher.
Ooh, so that's nice. That's like Pokemon.
So yeah, sounds like some cool changes. It is. Yeah. It's exactly like Pokemon. Bit of news we've got now. Actually, before we jump in, who's looking forward to Octopath Traveler?
I am, and I have not even played the demo.
I am. I don't have a Switch, so
download the demo. It's still available.
I know it's still available. I will get to it.
Demo.
And it looks great for what it is. And I do want to ask everybody else, what do you think this is going to be titled? Do you think that since this is by Square, is it just going to be is it going to be called Octopath Traveler, or do we think it could be just a secret Final Fantasy entry?
Entry.
I think.
Ooh, that too.
Oh, maybe. I think they're going to do the Hyrule Warriors, the tentative title, Hyrule Warriors, and they're going to call it Hyrule Warriors. So they're going to call it Octopath Traveler.
Will they drop the word project?
Yeah, of course. Okay. That's a horrible word. Look at Project Crosszone. That's a terrible title. So yeah, they're going to drop the project. Yeah, it's Octopath Traveler.
Project Crosszone. It's been a while since I thought of Project Crosszone.
I mean, what else could you have called that? Either way, it's not like Namco, Sega, and Capcom crossover. Go.
I think the original game was called Namco Cross Sega Cross. Was that company?
Well, I think originally it was only two parties.
Yeah,
there might have been Namco Sega.
Yeah. Anyway,
which slightly simplifies things.
It does.
Whatever. Yeah. Next bit of news, though, we've got some Mutant Mudds news. Or at least some Atooi news. So Atooi has announced a new Switch game, which is called, here we go, Soccer Slammers. This is going to be a 2-on-2 soccer game, or football game over here, or Jules is Jules is British, isn't he?
Yes, he is. And he just recently, we actually, at Pure Nintendo, actually named his game, the recent game, Chicken Wiggle, our eShop Game of the Year for 3DS.
Awesome. And then when is that going to Switch? That's the question.
Yeah.
No comment yet.
I mentioned the name. I mentioned the name of that game. Like I was showing everybody the latest PDF of the issue to like a couple of my coworkers at the restaurant, and I said like, "Oh yeah, what'd you name for like your eShop game, whatever?" I was like, "Oh, this game from Atooi, from the people from Mutant Mud, it's called Chicken Wiggle." I was like, "Say that name again, Chicken Wiggle," and they just like bursting up laughing. I'm just like, "What's so funny?" It's like that's
ever.
No, they honestly did not. They did. Well, they didn't believe the name, and I was like, "No, that's the name. Here it is."
Yeah, actually, there is a little bit of news around Chicken Wiggle heading. Well, whether it would be heading to Switch, is that Jules on Twitter mentioned that he has interest in starting up a Kickstarter to find out interest in others for Chicken Wiggle on the Switch. And that Kickstarter hasn't come round yet. But it sounds like that is going to be the plan for Chicken Wiggle. And so we'll be the ones who decide whether or not it does eventually.
Guys, would you back Chicken Wiggle?
It depends. Potentially. I mean, if Chicken Wiggle comes out on the eShop, I will buy it. But backing on Kickstarter it's all up to the pitch.
Yeah.
It's got to be like how much they want from the whole thing. What are the rewards are going to be? That's always an important one. What do I get out of it, opposed to just paying in advance? Yeah, but then potentially, I wouldn't be against it by any means. Yeah. So, does anyone here? I mean, I'm not sure any of us are too into football here.
I am.
Oh, all right.
What do you have on
this 2-on-2 soccer game?
Looks very arcadey, and again, this looks like it's definitely drawing a lot of inspiration from NBA Jam, but what does it say it's coming out? Yeah, no, I'm usually game for some of these type of entries, whatever. But I don't know. I do. It does. The name does kind of remind me of the Sega game from the GameCube called Sega Soccer Slam, and really one of the better arcade title entries for that one for sports games on the GameCube.
You never know. May be a point of inspiration, even beyond the name. But yeah, we got some Jules games coming out soon. We got a Zeo Drifter port coming out February 15th. And at a certain point, we have a port of Totes the Goat, which previously was on mobile. And at some point, Treasure Knots.
Okay.
I'm not sure it's actually confirmed for Switch or not. But what else would it come for? Surely.
Something, maybe.
Something. Yeah.
Now, Mr. Cyan in the chat just said, I'd rather see a new Strikers game. I agree. Where is Mario Strikers? I want to see that series come back.
May have to ask Next Level Games for that one.
Yeah.
Don't blame poor Jules.
I'm not blaming Jules.
I'm not blaming Jules at all.
I just want to know that series.
He's doing his best.
Was the last one on Wii?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yes.
Is it add on online play?
I might have to pick that up. Obviously, online play will work, but I like the GameCube game. Still, there we go.
You never know. I mean, we've obviously got Mario Tennis Aces.
Yeah.
As the next Mario sports game. I wonder, is it inevitably going to be golf next?
Most likely.
Or
that's the pattern. That's always the pattern, isn't it? It's inevitable.
There's been others, though.
There have been others, but I'm saying the pattern is they do tennis and golf.
All right, tennis and golf. Well, when golf hits, I want to see more than just story mode. I want to see full blown RPG mode in my golf game.
It could work, yeah.
I'm kind of surprised.
It can work, yeah.
I was surprised they just didn't just dive in with the sports mix. They did it on 3DS. They did the sports mix one. I don't know why they just didn't do that for the Switch. But yeah, here's sports mix in basically HD.
Well, I'm kind of glad they've had some focus because I mean, I obviously like the idea, but I don't think any of those multiple sports in one deals has really gone down too well. They've always been a bit lacking.
I've been meaning to try.
It wouldn't be impossible to do, but I don't think we've really seen anyone do that particularly well yet.
Yeah.
I guess arguably with the exception of something like Wii Sports. But that's kind of a different beast entirely.
That's entirely different. Yeah.
But I think it's the closest we've come to someone saying, "Oh, well, here's a bunch of sports games," and they're going, "Oh, yeah, these are all quite cool.
These are really good." Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to do it for the Nintendo news. The only other little bit of news I've got, I don't have any details in front of me whatsoever. The sort of prepared state we come to a fresh podcast. But I did hear on Twitter that there will be a Minecraft update at some point, at least, if it hasn't come out already, which oddly brings Microsoft characters to the mix.
Oh,
yeah.
And the reason why this is quite interesting is rare characters are Microsoft characters now. And so, soon in Minecraft for the Switch, you will be able to play as Banjo-Kazooie.
That's not a good thing.
That's not a good thing.
That's not a good thing. The new Banjo is awful compared to old Banjo. I like new Banjo.
Yeah, but everyone's blocky in Minecraft, so it doesn't matter if he's based off the blocky one anyway.
Hey, you want to know also is not a good thing, and this is Microsoft related. That rumor going around that they might buy EA.
Oh, that's a whole kind of worms. That is.
Well, yeah, knowing that it has like very large implications for the entire industry. But again, you have to ask yourself, what you add EA to another list of like companies, like what has Microsoft not wanted to buy? I mean, back in the early 2000s, they almost did. They gave an offer, I think, supposedly to Nintendo to buy them.
That's just funny. It is so
funny. It's an interesting piece of history.
I can see them like looking at the offer and being like, "Are they serious? Like, are they kidding?" Wow.
So yeah, I mean, in addition to that, I'm not sure whether or if there are other rare characters in there, but you got things like Master Chief, things you would expect.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was interesting, like just seeing that from the official Minecraft account and making a point that yes, these characters will also be on the Switch version. I don't think we're going to see anything the other way around.
I don't know how I feel about this.
Like this. Why not? Surely it's all good. We just get more stuff.
I guess if you're into that kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, into the options and the things and that. Failed me. Anyway, I think has anyone got any extra news?
No,
there's no extra news. No more extra news. All right, let's jump into our super topic. Then we're done with the news, and our super topic this week from Jonathan Cruz. So thank you very much, Jonathan. If you want to add your own super topics to us, you can do so by supporting us on Patreon, which is patreon.com/Nintendo Voice. And doing so makes the show amazing and beautiful and brilliant. And we will give you 1,000 thank yous. But no, in all seriousness, it really genuinely does help. And as a reward, you do get to offer these super topics, these kind of more full-featured, not just questions, which we can really dig into and put some time into. And so, thank you everyone who's supporting us on Patreon. It's really cool. The question from Jonathan: will we or should we see Nintendo's quality of life non-wearable gadgets? Would you have purchased a sleep monitor, one that was rumored? What types of devices do you think Nintendo should pursue if not gaming related? Something like Google Home or Amazon Echo, or anything else that's trending lately?
Well, knowing that cardboard is actually now in for Nintendo, and I feel like this comes on the heels almost, it seems like, of Nintendo Labo, but of course that is definitely used for, gaming related purposes. It's just also, Nintendo did I think coin this, whatever they did call Labo cardware. So yeah, Hardware. So they did. They wanted to make sure they
no.
Yeah, they did.
No,
the internet did not think of that one. Nintendo did. Wow, it's been a while since we actually even talked about quality of life. I remember many times that early on in the show we'd think about what would it be or if it would actually come into existence. But
non-wearables.
Yeah,
they were taking the leap. They could. The next trend is going to be wearable devices. You're going to have your smartwatches, your fitness things, all your things like that. We're going to leapfrog it. We're going to make the non-wearables going to be brilliant. We're going to make Nintendo money again.
See, I feel
don't
like
leave us now, shareholders.
Like the whole quality of life, and that was like Iwata was a huge driving force for that. He really wanted quality of life. I don't think Kimishima's like really into that much. It's not come up, has it? Really?
I feel like though, knowing this, I wouldn't say this is Iwata's idea, but this was definitely came into focus during his time. But definitely. It's to what it could be for something. I mean, knowing what Nintendo's like value and stock on the rise after that first year of the Switch, and knowing that we saw with Labo, I'd say leave the door. There's no need to shut the door on the possibility of things like this actually happening, because we've seen them do things like this before.
No, that's yeah, it's true, but I just don't. I'm not entirely sure if it's going to come back or anything like that.
Yeah, I feel like because it's at least on the peripheral of like the health space, if it's not dedicated towards it, at least it's kind of in that general area. I think it kind of takes more of a unified front. Like you can't just release a product and throw it out there and go, "Oh, this is our new thing." It's got healthcare benefits, so it monitors you in some ways, and but it's just that for now.
Yeah,
I think you really need like a full platform. You need a full like almost dedicated part of your organization, just managing all aspects of that from the support side, obviously development of future stuff and just relations and all that business to business stuff. So I think it would be this really massive venture, and I think they definitely were gearing up for it. And I think you're absolutely right, Colin, that I think after Iwata's passing, that some of that focus definitely shifted on getting the Switch out. And I think this would have been a very risky venture. Definitely, things to be rewarded out of it, but not a guarantee by any means, especially coming from Nintendo's background of toys and games and such.
Yeah.
Whereas they've had some like kind of some slivers of experience with things like Wii Fit and sports and some of the Wii stuff and some of the weird DS stuff. But I think this would be taking it seriously, which is a much, much bigger step.
No, definitely. I feel like if they were to do anything like Amazon Echo or Google Home, I think Nintendo could do something like that. But I feel like it'd be something that's built into their system. Yeah, I don't think they'll create a separate device or anything like that. Nintendo is.
I think they need to though, because how else would you do it? I mean, I don't think you can just for one, the Switch doesn't actually have any little microphones on it.
No, that's right. Yeah,
but even if it did, like the 3DS, it doesn't have a good mic in that sense. Like you gotta have it like here, speak into it. You can't just have it on your table and just casually talk to it.
Exactly,
with natural language.
Even the Wii U gamepad microphone was not top quality. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't think. I don't want to say they're gearing away from that kind of thing, but the fact they haven't mentioned it in a long time, like quality of life, I just feel like they're not going to bring up again. I think it's a forgotten thing. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't necessarily say forgotten, but I know the sentiments, as it were. Because I reckon it was almost. I think it was a very big shift.
Yeah,
I think there was a point where they probably hadn't much focus in quality of life as they did in the Switch during the Wii U era. And so, all right, we've got these two things just in case this if the Switch turns into another Wii U, we've got this other thing ready, as it were.
So you think they've still got that in the back pocket, like just in case? But I know the Switch is too much of a success now.
Exactly. I don't think it's so much as a back pocket thing, because I think they would have had to make that redirection a lot earlier. I don't think.
Yeah.
I think originally they would have expected to launch Quality of Life first, and then Switch shortly afterwards, like a year or two afterwards.
Yeah.
But no, it went very quiet on Quality of Life, and I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, we're just speculating here. I'm not sure if it is, or how much that is tied to Iwata. It's really hard to say, to be honest.
Yeah.
But in terms of, so let's do some, instead of just speculation in terms of what may have happened, or what could happen. So you mentioned about the Echo, and obviously we had that weird patent by the Pokemon Company.
Yeah.
About something which sounded like it would be something like that. I can't remember what it was called.
Yes, a while ago. I
Pookie Talker.
I can't remember.
Pookie Talker. That's
probably.
That's horrendous.
So what sort of non-gaming stuff can Nintendo do? I think they could do some sort of gadget like that. I'm just trying to think logically now. They make good software.
Yes.
That's the point. They make a good mix of software and hardware. I have no idea what non-wearables was going to be, but maybe they could do actual wearables.
Are you saying a Nintendo Watch?
Yeah, maybe a Nintendo Watch. You could play like Game & Watch games on it. Perfect.
I was going to say like
limited anyway,
or something like that.
Yeah, I want a Game & Watch smartwatch.
Watch. I mean, the biggest thing is the phone. I know the investors have been pushing hard for Nintendo to make a phone for the longest time. That makes perfect sense to me. Nintendo made a phone. The Nintendo phone.
No.
Especially now they're getting into the mobile. They're getting more and more into the mobile market. I just feel like they wouldn't have.
It's a cool idea, but the mobile world is ruthless. They would tear Nintendo up into pieces.
Yeah, there's a reason. There's a reason why they have, especially with the dwindling handheld market out there, and knowing that Nintendo is kind of seemingly like keeping it alive just by participating. It just, I don't know, maybe
just by showing up.
By showing up, yeah. There you go. Here, it's alive still. Thanks for it's put off for another one. But no. Maybe something in the vein of an Amazon. I don't know. It could be.
I'm not sure what purpose that would have though. Unless you like say to it, Nintendo, hey Nintendo voice, turn on my Switch. You know, like what purpose does it have? Really?
What makes it unique beyond?
Yeah, you can just buy an Amazon Echo or whatever. You know, it has to be game related or something. You know, has to do something with their stuff. Their products. Their products are all video game related. So unless Nintendo starts making like Nintendo TVs or something, I don't know. But I don't really understand what they could do with their version of the Echo or whatever. It's just
I think that's fair. I think like the only like at face value you get they could have like their own voices. So you could have voice packs for Nintendo characters, and they would only be available.
And that would make a killing. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, see, everyone would select Link, and then regret their decision immediately when
and pre-order your Nintendo. I got Nintendo voice today.
Yeah, you just said it to voice.
But I think maybe going back to, it seems odd, but going back to the basics, going back to their old traditions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if they still produce like Hanafuda cards, but I would like.
I don't believe so. I actually have one of the Club Nintendo ones over there in my shelf at the moment. That
but I'd like to see like not just like print some new ones as like a novelty.
Okay.
But I'd like to see them give like a proper go at like. I'm not sure how the market's there or not, but maybe start off. I'm not sure where I'm going with this. Maybe like I was thinking like just playing cards. I'm thinking about the history, like selling them to casinos and such. There we go. So my suggestion is Nintendo should do a casino. They should.
You're just suggesting a casino.
They're going to complete 100
Nintendo
their image completely. The squeaky clean company,
a family-friendly company.
It's not going to be a family-friendly casino.
Let me add here. Okay, you're saying family-friendly company. Come on. Colin, here's the thing. You do realize that at one point in time, one of the other business ventures they actually did do were love hotels.
That's true. That is true. They did love hotels.
Nothing wrong with a love hotel.
I don't have experience with love hotel, Lewis. If you do, then
nor have I. It's just a place where two people can go and they can play some cards.
Yeah, We're beyond euphemism. Okay, wow, Nintendo euphemisms of way of Nintendo. There we go.
Oh, lordy. Whoo.
But
I know what they should make.
But
it's a shame because they don't exist anymore. But I would want.
So why would they make it?
Oh, I know why.
You just killed your own
2 points. No, they do exist. They're just not that popular anymore, which is why Nintendo's going to come in.
They don't exist anymore. Nintendo should make
dedicated
tapes.
Digital camera. And the reason what Nintendo's twist on this is going to be is
a digital camera. It's called the Game Boy camera, and it was terrible.
Oh, is that? Oh, I didn't even think about the Game Boy camera in its legacy. It's perfect.
You could print your photos out. I don't care if they're really bad and pixelated.
Even better. No, genuinely, I think this could work now. Let's get the Kickstarter going. We'll ask for Nintendo's approval after all the money's come in. That will help. That will help in the.
I mean, the 3DS has a camera in it. Doesn't it technically not count?
No, that's a rubbish dedicated camera. But you'll prove my point. So one of the things it's going to be. It's going to have 2 lenses. You're going to be able to take 3D pictures. It's going to have the 3D screen so you can view them on. That's going to be important. Okay. Despite 3D not being a big thing. It's going to have
3DS. It's a 3DS that doesn't play games.
Yeah, but decent cameras. It's going to have 2, like at least 10 meg cameras, ideally 20-ish each. You're going to be able to play cool games on there. You're going to be able to put your people's faces on the games and such. But it's going to have that silly Nintendo quality about it, and they're going to make it like nice and sturdy and a good value, and they're going to bring the fun and novelty back off the camera. A camera you can give to kids and to kids at heart and such.
They did that. It was called Face Raiders.
But I forgot about that one.
Yeah, but the actual sell here is, you're actually taking decent pictures as well.
And you just modify a 3DS with put better cameras in it.
You can't do it. I've tried.
You tried.
He has tried.
Yeah, they're my suggestions. Anyone got any others?
I mean, it can't be any worse than a 3DS that doesn't play games. No. I don't have any.
No, Colin has no ideas.
I've got nothing.
He's got nothing.
Nope.
No.
Nothing so ever. I think that my final things to add of like what they could possibly do is, well, I don't know. Like we discussed whatever it could be, something like an Amazon Echo or a Google Home. It could. We've already seen them that are venturing out to actually doing obvious mainstays of like going into like into making their own theme parks right now, and Universal in Japan and over here, and especially in the States. But if I were to say something, it's just well. Yeah, there could be something when it comes to wearables, whether it deals with health or like there's things called like Fitbits out there, and even Apple has like health app integrated into their own iPhones. Could there be something where they make something that does yes, the Wii Fit was technically that, but something that's more portable of sorts,
So Wii Fit boards that you can carry around.
Nothing like that.
It's an actual expand. I mean, not from the board, but I mean. Believe it or not, there was a Wii Fit for the Wii U.
Right, there was.
What made that one special? One of the things, it came with a little thing, a little pedometer, basically. And you could feed your points back from the pedometer into the Wii Fit game, and they would all add together, and it would go, you've walked so far, we'll add it together and work out your calories and such. But it could be a natural extension to that.
Pokemon had that at one point.
Well, it did, but I mean, it didn't serve any further purpose than like giving you Poke Points or whatever. And
I know, right?
But if they were to do a modern Wii Fit, obviously it wouldn't be called Wii Fit, on the Switch, and you could also buy for cheap some sort of health-based smartwatch, which linked with it. I think that could be a nice way of crossing the balance where when you had a 3DS, you get the you get the activity points from walking around and such.
If they want to do fitness, and I can't believe these words are going to come out my mouth here, but they need to bring back the power pad.
And how is that going to help?
You can connect it to your phone and play mobile games.
Okay.
With the power pad via Bluetooth. How great is that?
The reason why I was confused at first, because when you said power pad, I heard power glove, even though Nintendo didn't make it.
I was going to say.
So that's why I was like, how is that going to help?
I don't know. I feel right now Nintendo is has really strong momentum with the Switch. I don't think they will want to do anything that would jeopardize that momentum. So
that seems sensible.
Yeah. So I don't think we're going to see any quality of life, anything from it for a long time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I think oddly, because I do think their strength is software. I mean, they do obviously make their own physical hardware every generation. But yeah, I think the real talent is in the software. So I think it would be cool, as strange as it was, if they were just to make some like PC applications.
Okay.
And just like put some of that focus towards like non-game stuff, but also leaning on their talents. If they were just to make, I don't know what it would be like. Maybe they just made a messenger app or something, and it was just like the best messenger app. It's just because, and this seems like a very weird tangent, but when I used to use iPhones and iPads, my favorite Twitter app was Tweetbot, and there's a load of Twitter apps. But for some reason, I
feel like I want to say I'm the only one who uses the official Twitter app, but everybody, when I pull that up, they're like, well, why don't you use TweetDeck or Tweetbot, whatever. It's like, because I'm comfortable with that. I don't know. Again, I get people who are said like, oh, this is so much better, but I just never really gotten to using it. And some are yet to pay for them, not to pay monthly usage, just the app is paid. So
yeah, no, that's true. And it has a weird background to where previously or for a long time, at least from my point of view, and I thought I've said that statement a few times already this episode, is that the official client would never really be that great. And that's why the third-party ones would come in, because they go, oh, yeah, we do all that stuff, but we do all these other features, which, for whatever reason, the official one doesn't have. But the reason why I like Tweetbot is kind of like it had like almost a game-like reaction to it. Like things kind of snapped, things looked sharp. It's weird to describe, but it had like this kineticness about it. But I think if Nintendo was to just jump in and make some normally mundane things, they wouldn't be mundane. And they would kind of animate in a cool way, and like they would put a new perspective on it and go, okay, we're doing things this way round, and there's a reason behind it.
You're kind of describing Miiverse.
In a weird way.
In the weirdest possible way.
Yeah.
In a weird way, it's kind of is what you get. But I mean, the intent of Miiverse or Miitomo was a kind of a gamey version of it. I would like to see like that kind of applied to, for the purposes of this question at least, if they took their very gaming talents to some non-gaming things. I reckon that could be quite cool.
Make it more fun. That's what Nintendo's
exactly. It's just making things more fun. That's a good way to put it.
There you go. Tagline: making things more fun. There you go.
Yeah. Cool. So, thank you again, Jonathan, and thank you all, Patreon supporters and non-Patreon supporters. Thank you all for listening to the show. All very appreciated. And before we do go, because I outlined at the beginning what the episode would entail, and we've covered all that, and so we are going to go around and we're going to say where you can contact us and what we've been up to. Harrison, would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure. You can reach me at Twitter at hmilfeld, and if you want to become a Switch friend, I have my profile, my friend code pinned to the top of my Twitter profile. So
that's where
come and get me.
And is there anything you've been up to you'd like to let the people know?
Yes, I am actually currently writing the cover story for next month's issue, by next issue of Pure Nintendo Magazine, and the cover is up Colin's alley. It's actually Detective Pikachu.
Oh, man, you had me excited for a second.
What do you think I was going to say?
Now I just want to cry in the corner.
What do you think I was going to say?
Something Monster.
You had the exclusive of Monster Hunter World's coming to Switch.
I was like, oh, this is exciting.
Yes, I have the beta on my Switch, of course. Yeah, nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
So, Colin, have you been tempted? Oh, no. I keep assuming you've got a Switch. I was about to say, have you been tempted to download the Japanese version of Double X? But of course not.
No, unfortunately.
Would you be? That's a weird question, but would you be tempted?
I see. I have. Honestly, Monster Hunter is not a game that you're bound to language to play. The game is very basic action-wise. So
there's a lot of text in the game now, is it?
There's a lot of text, but it's all a lot of the same text. Once you've deciphered the symbols and what they are, then... So I need like a translation page, but I could totally... Yeah, I could play that, yeah. I would.
That translates to you would have already poured lots of hours into the Japanese version, okay.
Yep.
And so, Colin, where can people find you?
Yes. People
can find you one of these unique Once Hunter thoughts of yours.
On Twitter, I am at Heidi and Barge. You can find me there. I have been streaming a lot lately on YouTube. I've gone back to YouTube these days. My channel's called Heidi and Barge as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah. Why'd you go back to YouTube?
Why go back to YouTube? Because Mixer stopped working for me for some reason.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was refusing to accept my OBS settings, which I don't understand because I didn't change them, but I do. Yeah. Yes.
Oh dear.
Yeah. And I can't go to Twitch. I want to go to Twitch, but I can't because somebody has taken my name.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
Wait, somebody's already really?
There's a Highly Barred on Twitch. It's not me. I just want to point it out. It's not me.
Is he active?
See, no. I tried that with PSN, but with PSN is like once you have the name on there, you can't change it. Right. But I put in my old AIM, like AOL Instant Messenger name, and also my old Xbox Live gamer tag was called Hybrid Beta. Somebody had taken it.
You're like, what? Yeah. How dare they? Yeah. No. Yeah. There's a Highly Barred on Twitch, and he has the same capitalized H and capitalized B as me, and I'm like, do I have a secret fan out there who now streams on Twitch? I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, all we need to do, create a word and spell it wrong, and the name will be yours forever. You can find me on Twitter at Luvision, which is spelled Leuvsion. Now, young rascals, don't go registering the things of that name because I made a point of it. I don't want to try and join up something in the future and find someone's taken it because it's never happened before. It's very unique, and I probably shouldn't be mentioning this.
I thought my name was unique, but apparently not. So
no, Lucian, you need a name where you type it in Google and it asks you if you're asking for something else.
Yes,
that's the name you should give to a potential company.
That is the secret.
Trying to make money. That is the trick.
Trade secrets, folks. Yes,
trade secrets indeed. I've got nothing to promote, really. We've done the plugs for the show. We've done the YouTube. We've done the things. What was that?
You've had enough of it. Do we need to plug the Patreon again?
No, we've plugged the Patreon. We're plugging it now.
We're plugging everything.
We're plugging it right now.
Patreon.com/Nintendo Voice.
There you are.
You lovely people. Thank you. This has been Nintendo Voice, and thanks for listening and for watching and everything else you do.
Everything indeed. See you all later.
Yes. Take care, everyone.
Goodbye.